Good morning. Thank you all for coming. I want to tell the people who are watching the video, thank you for watching the video. And we are recording this morning in front of a live studio audience. And what we're going to be talking about today is called Vaccination, What the CDC Documents and Science Reveal. Now when you start talking about vaccination, it's a very large topic. There are many vaccines. And there's also the politics of vaccination, there's the big money about vaccination, there's vaccine injury, there's vaccine promotion, there's vaccine dissent. So there's a whole big area of vaccination to talk about. What we're going to talk about today really has to do with the science and what I've discovered through about 4,000 hours worth of research. Well, how the heck did I get interested in vaccination? Because who I am is a classically trained physician. I'm board certified in emergency medicine. I practiced in emergency department for 12 years, and not only was I an emergency room physician, I was the director of the ER and president of our ER corporation, and I ran a 3-county EMS, and I set up a 3-county mental health transportation system that involved the sheriff's department, the police department, and the state highway patrol. So not only did I do every conventional thing that you can imagine in terms of conventional medicine, but when I was an ER doc, I used to hand out tetanus shots like they were some special form of candy. Have people been waiting there for 2 hours because they'd cut their finger washing dishes? I wasn't going to take the time to go and explain to them that they just had a tetanus shot 3 years ago and they probably didn't need it. I just thought it was something totally benign, a little bit of tetanus toxoid and a little saline, and we'd give them their shot and out the door they went. So how did I get from point A to point B? Because I was obviously way into conventional medicine. Well, in 1994, my business partner and colleague and very dear friend, Dr. Dave Franczek, died of cancer. And at that point, he was only 33 years old. And my heart sort of went out of emergency medicine, and I thought that there might be a whole lot more to treating people than just patching them up in the ER. And I come from a whole lineage of chiropractors, 3 generations as a matter of fact, with my grandfather and my father and 3 uncles and 2 cousins as chiropractors. I really wanted to get back to my osteopathic roots and do more in terms of healing people and getting people well rather than just patching people up. So I started an office practice, and I did the office practice doing osteopathic manipulation and acupuncture 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I worked in the ER Tuesday, Thursday, and every other weekend. So it was a rather schizophrenic life and very busy, and I did that for a couple of years. And finally one day I said, whoa, what's wrong with this picture? I'm this divorced professional female with no children, living in a married with kids kind of town, working 100 hours a week, and this is getting me nowhere. And if I stayed here another 10 years, how much would that change? Well, it really wasn't going to change a whole lot. So I was getting more and more and more involved in the alternative medicine side of my practice because of the office practice, because people would come in and want helps with their vitamins and supplements and diet and herbs, and they wanted more things than just a prescription to try to make them feel better. So at that point I moved to Cleveland and I started OsteoMed 2, and at that time it was just myself and an office manager, and since then we've grown to about 16 people, and we're just continuing to expand and grow. Well, it was in September of 2000 I had the opportunity to attend the National Vaccine Information Center meeting in Washington, D.C. And at that point, I went in and I sat for 4 days listening to a meeting, and I just couldn't even believe my ears. I mean, I'm rather an information junkie, and I read a lot and I study a lot, and this whole area of medicine was totally new to me. How did I miss this? Well, it just became such a fascination for me because I thought, well, if all these people standing up here with big credentials and really seem to be very knowledgeable are speaking out against vaccines, maybe that's something that I ought to take a look at. So figuring that the best defense is a good offense, I thought that the best place to start was to go to the CDC. Now the CDC is the Center for Disease Control, and they are what we would call the highest law in the land when it comes to vaccines. Sort of like if you were an attorney and you were investigating and researching a court case, you would want to see what the Supreme Court said about it. You would want to go to the highest law in the land. So when I started going to the CDC documents, I decided that I didn't really have to look many other places, because there was so much information in there that was not known to doctors, not known to the general public, and really showed that vaccines did cause a lot of damage and that there was a real reason for concern. So after about the last 3 years of just spending all of my extra time, I mean, my friends who know me say, you know, you have no life, because I spend all my evenings reading CDC documents. And so I do that because I'm very passionate about this topic. I believe that we really need to know more about this. I'm very passionate about the vaccine-injured children that we treat in our clinic, and I'm very passionate to do something to get the information out to stop the tide of what's happening in this country in terms of vaccine injury.